I sent T and them that the Kingdom Prepper historical context from like how Christianity got started and after the apostles died off and what Rome was doing, all that stuff. So I even
who was that one? It was Sister Pam and Tia, right?
Mm-hmm. I even
You sent it to them individually, or you put it in the band up?
I should have put it in the band, but individually, I put it in the band.
I ain't even been in the band. I'm probably like 3 or 4 days behind, honestly.
Bro, I went like after we finished the Bible in a year, I kind of wanted to do I started doing like some other reading, so I'll pick back up with y'all soon. I'm just trying to get through like, because I forgot like a lot of like when I was reading Revelations, you know what I'm saying, it made me want to go back into like the Psalms, you know what I'm saying, and all of that stuff about like, because Psalms is like it's slept on, but Psalms give a lot of like this is what's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying. So I want to go through I want to come through the Psalms real quick, then I'll jump back on with y'all.
Sabbath peace.
With peace.
Another opportunity for us to come together and hear and learn of the word of truth that's given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast, and given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, it is made obvious that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and it will be used against you in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, to the saints watching in on the camera, to the saints that scattered around the world that we don't know about, but no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. Alrighty, last week we talked about Romans. And in Romans, it was a pretty clear theme of Paul kind of laying down groundwork to show that how everyone is without excuse. You remember in the first chapter, he started light. He basically gave peace to all the saints. And he went on and he said, because we've escaped the wrath of God. And remember, he said the wrath of God is going to come for those who, even though they know there is a God, right, they still behave in unrighteousness. And he said the way that they know that there is a God, even if they've never been exposed to God, is they can look in the sky. In the next chapter, he went on to talk about the people who hate grace, right? You despise the grace of the Most High God, because although you know the right thing to do, you still do what's wrong, right? And he defined that for us. It's important for us to understand and let the scripture define stuff for us, right? Sometimes we have our own definition of like what love is, right? But then we looked at 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which defined love for us. And when we look at what it defined that love does not find joy in iniquity. So that's one thing. Like all the people that say, "Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you," but they going out sinning with you and having fun. Well, that's a show that that's not love, right? That's not real love. That helps you define that stuff for you. When we talk about hating grace, when somebody talk about hating grace, you may not know what they're talking about. You hate the grace of God. You may not know what they're talking about. But now Paul is telling you, when you know what the right thing is, and then still do the wrong thing, he's saying that is despising the grace of God, the forbearance of God, right? Then he went on in chapter 3 and he kind of articulated how everything is put under God and condemned under God. In chapter 4, he continued with the same idea with grace, and he kind of had like a mental argument back and forth, and continued on in chapter 5. So what we're gonna do, and we stopped at chapter 4, and today we're gonna continue on in chapter 5. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up chapter 5, verse 1. And we're gonna see what he got for us today. This is Romans chapter 5, verse 1. Watch what the book say.
Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Yahushua the Messiah, by whom also we have access by faith into the grace wherein we stand, and rejoice in hope of the glory of God. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience.
Right? So he said we glory. In other words, we give God glory in tribulations also. And the reason is because we understand it. Please don't let anybody trick you into thinking that you have to feel some type of magical feeling. The book is not talking about some magical feeling that makes you, you know what I'm saying, that like makes you go into a trance and now you can endure all things because you're in some godly trance. Right? That's not how this thing works. This thing works based off of understanding. When you look at it and you say, dang, times are rough right now, right? Things are happening and it is a lot for me. When you look at that, your brain has to overpower your emotions, right? You have to overpower and be like, you know what? This emotion is temporary. What I'm going through is temporary. I know the purpose of this. The only reason the Most High God is doing this is to work patience in me. So therefore, I'm going to give God glory, even though I'm going through tough situations, right? That's what he's talking about. He's saying, knowing that tribulation works patience. Read it again. Watch this.
Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Master Yahushua the Messiah, by whom also we have access by faith into this grace wherein we stand, and rejoice in hope of the glory of God. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation works patience, and patience experience, and experience hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us. For when we were yet without strength, in due time the Messiah died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But God commendeth his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, the Messiah died for us.
Right? So now, what is Paul talking about? The Christians love this thing. We about to pop their little bubble real quick. Christians love to hear, don't you know that while we were yet sinners, God died for us? Stop that darn line. Did God die for Philip when Philip was a sinner? Did God die for Brother T when he was a sinner? Did Yahushua come here and die when we were sinning? Everybody live, watching live right this second. Is there one person that was alive when Yahushua came there and died? But guess who was alive when Yahushua came and died? Paul. The people that he writing this letter to, they all was alive. So he's telling you, we were actively sinners when Yahushua died. And now we, who were actively sinning, have an opportunity to have our lives changed. Don't let nobody make this out to be something that's saying, well, everybody can sin. Matter of fact, God still loves you even though you sin. How you going to prove that to me, Christian? Or let me read to you Romans chapter 5. Stop that line. This is not God endorsing sin or saying he don't care about sin. It's quite the opposite. What Paul is trying to tell you is us being sinners didn't stop him from giving us a chance at redemption. And they who we reading about and who we reading to, right, or the letter that we read, or the letter that's being written is written to them and we reading it, right? They were sinners when this historical event happened. Keep going, watch this.
And
The
hope
stuff they
maketh,
say don't even make logical sense. That's the stuff that bothered me. Wow, we was yet sinners. You wasn't even alive. Why you keep repeating that like it means something to you? Thing happened 2,000 years ago, and you talking about wow, we were yet sinners. Your butt wasn't even thought of. You wasn't even sinning when that happened. Your butt was righteous in somebody's loins. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
For when we were yet without strength in due time, the Messiah died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure a good man some would even dare to die. But God commendeth his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, the Messiah died for us. Much more then, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. For if we were enemies, for when we were enemies,
when we were what? Look, it's a couple comments. One comment said, I don't get the difference, right? You look at it like, hold on. If he died for Paul when Paul was alive and yet a sinner, right? And he died for me when I wasn't born yet, what's the difference? Well, the difference is the statement. The difference is only in the statement. He didn't die for Brother Phil, right? When Brother Phil was a sinner, because he died before Brother Phil even was thought of to even commit a sin, right? So the reason why this is important to talk about is because this is one of the verses that a Christian will try to take you to prove that God loves you no matter what you do. So they'll make the point that you are a sinner, but God died for you despite you being a sinner, right? And so they'll say, God, it doesn't matter what you do because look, Paul said, while we were yet sinners, he died, right? Yahushua died for us, right? So it's important for us to make that distinction because it's not that he died for us while we were yet sinners. What he did is he died before we became sinners to give everyone an opportunity to become righteous, right? Then the second question ties right into that. The second question is, does he love us in our sin? Well, let's just see. Hold, we got grab Psalm chapter 5 for me. What I want, probably like verse 3, verse 4.
5:5.
This is then give me verse 4 then. If it's 5:5, I want, then I want verse 4. I just recently saw something saying about I'll try to remember exactly what they said for tomorrow. Or does he hate us until we turn away from our sin because he hates sin? This is Psalm chapter 5, verse 4. Watch what the book say. And then we jumping right back over into Romans chapter 5, whatever verse we left off.
Stand in awe and sin not. Commune.
Look, he said, stand in awe. What do it mean to stand in awe?
We'll do verse 3.
This is Psalm chapter 5, verse 3. Watch what the book say.
But know that Yahuah hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune.
Right? He said, look, stand in awe and sin not. What does that mean? When he say stand in awe, ain't he telling you like stand in amazement? Like sit back and bask in how great I am. And when you do that, make sure you don't sin. Right? Watch this. You got to fear God. When you stand in awe of something, you got to fear. You like, man, that's crazy. That's amazing. That's how you got to feel about God. Because that feeling will keep you from sinning. When you be looking, God is awesome. Boy, that boy messed me up. I ain't about to sin. That'll keep you. He's saying stand in awe, but don't sin. Watch what he say after this.
Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in Yahuah. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Oh, wait, my bad. I'm
about to say, what we read?
I'm in Psalm 4.
I don't know what we don't read. I mean, it's still good now. Don't get me wrong. It just ain't what I was looking for.
I'm reading too, like, wait a second.
No, go back. Hold on. Because we can talk about Psalm 4 now. Hold on. Go back. Read it again. Watch this. It's what? The whole book good. We can randomly, remember we used to randomly just turn the page and go to it like the Christian do? You know a good Christian, they'll pray. A good Christian that read the Bible front to back with their line, but they will pray and be like, God, just tell me which page of the Bible I should start with. Speak to me through your word. That's what they say. Speak to me through their word. Then they open it and they like shuffle the pages like this and just go back and forth. And then they close their eye. They always put one tongue out. And then they pick something And it's always talking about something that seems irrelevant to them. It's talking about darn and King Ahab. You know what I'm saying? They look like, oh, I can't do nothing with that. You know what I'm saying? They don't know nothing about no King Ahab. So then they do it again. And they keep doing that thing till they find something they need. Right? This Psalm chapter 4, watch this. We can do that thing truly random.
Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in Yahuah.
Uh-huh.
There be many.
What is righteousness then? What's a sacrifice of righteousness?
Your deeds.
Right? Yahushua told us that we have to die to ourselves, right? We have to die to ourselves. That is our sacrifice of righteousness. Right? Everybody has to die. When you make a sacrifice of righteousness, basically what you're saying is, I'm not like my flesh, my natural senses. Everybody, look, it's just natural to sin. It is. It's natural to make mistakes. It's natural to say foolish things. That's natural. These people will tell you, don't you know there are certain animals in nature? I'm making this up because I don't know the actual fact. But don't you know seahorses are naturally gay? They be saying stupid stuff like that. Because yes, you're right. It's very natural to be gay. You're right. You got a point. It's natural to be gay. It's natural to cuss. It's natural to lie. It's natural to cuss your mom out and your daddy out and dishonor them. All these things are very natural. But natural will take you to hell. It will take you down to the fire. So now we got to be supernatural. We got to be above natural. We have to be greater than natural. And the only way to do that is you die to your nature. And when you kill your nature, that is a sacrifice of righteousness. What does it look like to kill your nature? Well, you stop doing all the things that your nature tell you to do. Right? So when you're obedient, you're making a sacrifice of righteousness. Keep going.
Put your trust in Yahuah. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Yahuah, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and their wine increase. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, O Yahuah, makest me dwell in safety.
That's the end?
Yeah.
This is Psalm 5. We were going right into 5. Start at 1.
Give ear unto my words, O Yahuah. Consider my meditation. Hearken unto the voice of my cry, my King and my God, for unto thee I will pray. My voice shalt thou hear in the morning. O Yahuah, in the morning I direct my prayer unto thee, and will look up. For thou art not a God that has pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee.
He said, thou art not a God that has pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. Watch this.
The foolish shall not stand in thy sight.
He said, if they foolish, they're not going to have an opportunity to stand in your sight. Watch this.
Thou hatest all workers of iniquity.
You hate the iniquity, not the person.
Thou hatest all workers of iniquity.
The T is just reading the King James Version. But if you was reading the New Christian Standardized Version, it would say, God hates the sin, not the sinner. He loves the person. He just hates the fact that they sin. It really, really just upsets him. But read the King James Version again.
The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity.
He hates the people who work iniquity. Read one more verse for me. Watch this.
Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Yahuah will abhor the bloody and deceitful man.
He gonna destroy those who work iniquity. So we got to ask the question, does he love everybody that he died for? Don't sound like it. Right? The only relevant question that we need to ask is, make ourselves have behavior of somebody that he loves. We think about this stuff too personally. Right? We think about it as, it's me in God, in my personal relationship with God, my personal relationship with Yahushua. No. It's only one personal relationship you can get with Yahushua. You search through this whole book, you won't find in any translation, no any valid translation, anything about a personal relationship with Yahushua, except for one place in this Bible. John, give me John 15. I think I want verse 17. It's about to be the only place you're going to see something about a personal relationship with Yahushua. You cannot let these people confuse you into thinking that your activity and your behavior don't matter. Do not let anybody tell you that God died for you while you were yet sinner in a way to make you believe that your behavior is not absolutely detrimental to your hope and your salvation. You have to have behavior that is counted worthy of being saved. You have to make this stuff, as I said, make it plain. You have to make this stuff plain to people, right? My goal is to make sure everybody asks the question, what should I do? Matter of fact, let me take that back. My goal is you don't even have to ask what should you do, because hopefully I'm gonna tell you before the lesson is over. It's too many people. Listen, I was sitting in a funeral. My mama asked, she was like, listen, can you you know what I'm saying? Can you preach at the funeral? I was looking like, I can't do it, mama. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. That's too much. Y'all don't want to see me up there boo-hooing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't want to see me up there. Boy, I'll be up there. You know what I'm saying? Turning. And I ain't got Brother T to give me strength. Like, that thing there. Let me tell you something. If Brother T was at the funeral with me and he is reading, I can man up because I ain't crying in front of Brother T. You know what I'm saying? I'm never crying in front of Brother T. You know what I'm saying? That thing's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'd have been like, oh, no, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But when I look over and Brother T ain't there, you know what I'm saying? That thing going to be bad. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. My mama asked me, I told her I couldn't do it. I was like, I couldn't do it. I can't do that. He's like, well, can you at least do the opening? I said, I can muster up the strength to do the prayer. And I get there, and I'm like, I ain't going to be able to do the prayer. I ain't going to be able to do none of it. So, I get up there, I see my beautiful family, see everything. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. And I get up there and start to pray. But then, it's like I wanted to talk about what's it called? Psalm 18. You know what I'm saying? That's where I wanted to base the prayer off of. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Yah is my strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, Yah is my strength. He gets me through. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gets me through. Like, it's tough stuff, but Yah will get us through. That's what I wanted the prayer to give off. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want the prayer to give a little message. But then when I start reading it and I'm looking at everybody's face out there, I'm looking like, oh, I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? And then I start teaching the book. You know what I'm saying? Just start teaching the book a little bit. And so I think the pastor got mad at me. He said, like, the person that my mama told to go ahead, I think he got a little upset. He started sending shots at the whole rest of the time. He's like, you know what I'm saying? What the brother Phil said, it's a time for mourning, but it's a time for celebration of life. I'm looking like, I ain't killing my bad. You know what I'm saying? We all right. But he got in there. So, I'm critical. I'm sitting here and I feel like he slammed the gauntlet down. So now it's a competition. You know what I'm saying? But I'm critical of him. And he out there and he talking to the people and he talking to my family. This is my family. And he telling them things like, your relationship with God, make sure it's right. He's saying stuff like, you have to get it right before you get out of here. How do you know your relationship is right? If you unsure that your relationship is right, all that stuff. So I'm waiting to him. Tell him how to be sure. Tell him how they know. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for him. I'm like, oh, because the message wasn't bad. It really wasn't. Like, the message that he had, it wasn't bad. It was actually like, it was an inspiring message. So it's like all it needed was the detail, was the specifics, was for somebody to make it plain. That's all you need. Tell them where the line is. And then that'll let them know what side they on. But a lot of these brothers don't want to do that. A lot of these brothers don't want to give you the specific because they know once you draw that line, they scared that you're going to be okay with being on the side that you want. So in other words, what they do is they make it vague and they let you draw your own line. And the thing about people, what you have to realize, the thing about people, whenever we draw a line, we always draw it right next to us. Right? Everybody look at that. It's like whatever you willing to do, and then you draw the line right at what you not willing to do. Nah, man, I might be cussing, but I don't cuss in front of my parents. That's crazy. Then the person that cuss in front of his parents, nah, I might cuss in front of my parents, but I would never like cuss at my parents. Then the person that cuss at their parents, I mean, yeah, I be cussing my mama because that's just a relationship we got. But I never put my hand on my mama. Then the person that be hitting their parents, they hitting the parents. Look, I mean, yeah, she just had it coming to her, but I tell you what, I would never kill nobody. And everybody just draw the line right where they at. So everybody, when you listening to a pastor talk and he telling you, make sure your life right, in everybody's mind, they right. Because everybody draw a line somewhere that's just like, no, that's over the line. And I wouldn't do that. I ain't that evil. Everybody is telling themselves, I'm not that evil. But nobody knows the standard of the Most High God. No, the Most High God don't love your butt if you a sinner. No, the Most High God didn't die for you to be saved if you not going to turn away from sin. He died to send your butt to the fire. That's the only thing we got. You think y'all only died for the righteous? No, he died for the sinners and the righteous. But guess what? Only the righteous is going to get up. So now we got to make it plain. We got to draw a line. We got to know, what does it mean to have a relationship? There's only one relationship that's described in this book. It's John chapter 15. What I want, verse 17?
John 15. Oh, yeah. John 15. I don't know the verse, though.
Look, Sister Sharon, though, I almost did. I object. You right. I almost did. Was close. Oh, wait. He didn't say nothing technical. He said a couple things technically wrong. But he didn't say nothing technically wrong for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it was empty. You know what I'm saying? It was just, it's just inspirational. It was very inspirational. Make you feel good. It rile you up. But there wasn't no definition behind it. You know what I mean? It wasn't no definition behind it. This is John chapter 15. What was it?
Let's see. 15.
Probably what, 17?
No, it's not 17.
Gotta be somewhere in there. John 15 then? Go ahead and give me John 15, verse 15. We'll figure it out.
You want verse 14. We'll do 11. We'll start at 11.
This is John verse 15, verse 11. Watch this. Chapter 15, verse 11.
These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
Look, man, you my friend. And if somebody died for their friend, it ain't no greater love than that. This is what Yahushua said. Watch this.
Ye are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you.
So what if you don't do whatever he commands you?
That's friend.
If you, look, he said, you are my friend. And do it say if?
If.
Okay, so he said, you are my friend. And everybody was smiling. He said, if? Everybody was like, huh? If what? If you do whatever I command you. So now, what they call that, my friends, that's called a condition. Right? He said, greater love has no one than for him to die for his friends. And he says, you are my friend if you do whatever I command you to. So that means if you don't do whatever he commands you to, guess what? You are not his friend. This is the only description of a relationship with Yahushua. If you want to have a relationship with Yahushua, that means you have to be his friend. And if you want to be his friend, that means you have to do the will of the Father, because that is what he commanded to you. Remember, his own mother came and they said, "Oh my goodness, look, your mother is looking for you." And he said, "Who is my mother and my sister and my brother? Those that do the will of the Father are my brother and my sister and my mother." He's telling you how to have a relationship with him. It has nothing to do with feeling a certain way in your heart. It has nothing to do with saying a certain prayer. It has nothing to do with any of these things. The only thing it has to do is obedience to the Messiah, to the Son of God. And how can you obey somebody who you don't know, who you haven't learned about, who you haven't been taught about, who all you've been done is lied to about in church all your life or on TV all your darn life, so much so that your butt is darn confused? If you want a relationship with Yah, there's one way to do it. Watch what he say.
Greater love has no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what the master does. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made them known to you.
So look, I want y'all to put some stuff together. He said, "I've called you a friend." He said, "Look, I don't call you servants no more, because the servants don't be knowing the plan of their master." When's the last time you got to think of a servant, right? So today, give me an example of a servant. Give me an example of somebody who serves. What up, boy? Like, what about when you call and you trying to, like Brother T need to do, call and try to fix your internet? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a customer service agent that jumps on. That's a servant. They're acting as your servant on that call, right? When was the last time you sit there and be like, "Okay, well, why are you working on that? Let me tell you. No, tomorrow I'm about to go shopping. I need to buy some stuff from my house. And look, no, my bill is late. No, not just, I haven't paid y'all either. I also haven't paid Sprint." You know what I'm saying? And also I haven't paid this. I gotta do this. No, let me tell you, I just had a funeral yesterday. When's the last time you sit there and you told them your plans? You told them the stuff that you have going on in your life. You not telling no servant. That servant don't mean nothing to you. Right? Instead, you know what you do? You say that to your friend. Right? I'll call Brother T and be like, "Look, this is what we got going on, man. No, this is what I think. What you think about that? You think I should do this?" That's how it works. Because you say that to your friend. You don't say that to a servant. So now you have to put it together, because now we starting a link, right? So the top of the link is you reveal your life, you reveal what's important to your friend, not to a servant. But then you gotta ask, how do you become a friend? Well, he said, if you do whatever he commands you to. Boom. Now watch we connect this to something else. This is John chapter 7. Give me verse 14. This is John chapter 7, verse 14. Watch the book say. And then once we're done with that, we still got to get back to Romans chapter 5.
Now about the midst of the feast, Yahushua went up into the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying, "How knoweth this man letters, having never learned?"
Right? How in the world do you know these letters? You ain't never learned. Right? You didn't get your bachelor's, your master's, your PhD. Right? You didn't go to seminary. How in the world do you know this stuff and you've never learned? Who brought you up? What church you come out of? What? You didn't go to church. How in the world do you know this stuff if you never learned? That's the question that they was asking them. Watch what he said.
Yahushua answered them and said, "My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me.
He said, look, the doctrine that I'm trying to teach y'all, when he say doctrine, that means teaching, right? He's saying the teaching that I'm giving y'all is not mine. Y'all asking me, how do I know? It's not mine. It's the one who sent me. Watch what he said.
If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God or whether I speak of myself.
So listen, if any man does the will of the Father, you will know at that point whether it be of him or whether it be of God. Because guess what? By obeying the Most High God, he treats you as a friend. He reveals things to you when you obey him. So if you confused, like, man, I don't know if this man is really teaching from the Most High God or not, guess what? All you got to do is obey. All you got to do is obey what the book says. And that might confuse people. It's like, well, if I'm trying to learn about God, how do I know I'm obeying the right thing? Pick up the book and read it. And if you see something that it tell you to do, then do it. And I guarantee you keep repeating that. I read something and it told me to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't care how basic you think it is. I don't care how outdated you think it is. Do whatever you see it commands you in the book. Right? When it tells you thou shalt not, or just do it. Just do it. Don't try to understand it. Don't try to figure it out. You be like, that's what it say. I'm going to do it. And I assure you the Most High God will give you the understanding. I assure you he'll give you the understanding. Most of us don't have understanding because we have we don't even have any enthusiasm to obey his word. We're not even looking to obey his word. We out here pretending we looking, let me understand everything first and then I'll obey. Is that the order that he just gave? He said, do the will of the Father and then you will understand. Because when you do the will of the Father, that means you're doing everything that the Son commanded you to do. And when you're doing everything that the Son commanded you to do, that means you're treated as a friend. And when you're treated as a friend, that means you have what the Christians consider a relationship with Yah. And when you have a relationship, that friend that Yahushua will talk about in the 15th chapter of John, now that means that henceforth, I'm revealing to you what's going on. You no longer in the dark because you no longer a servant. You have to understand these things because we have to have a line drawn. And you have to figure out, am I close to the line? Am I way over the line? Or am I within the lines? Because if you are within the lines, you got salvation waiting for you. If you out of the line, you got to do a little bit of moving until you get within. And then you got to repent. And then you got to serve God for the rest of your life. Anything else, don't kid yourself. Your butt is going right to the lake of fire. You know what I'm saying? Don't even play around. Don't even kid. It's better to acknowledge it. It's better to say, you know what? I'm not even ready to stop sinning yet. But I know if I die today, I'm going right to the lake of fire. It's better to say that to yourself than to play around and be like, well, I know God still loves me. No, that's not true. That's not true. Because if you say he still loves you, that means you don't believe what Psalm 5, what Psalm 5:5 said. And if you don't believe what Psalm 5:5 said, that means you don't believe the book. Let's go back. This is Romans chapter 5. This is Romans chapter 5. Brother T probably ain't even on the camera no more. Let me see.
No, can you hear me?
Y'all pray for his internet.
You hate it.
This is Romans. This is Romans chapter 5. What verse?
Your internet messing up my internet. That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
We on verse.
When you getting back?
25th.
I gotta hurry. I gotta go buy one of these things. This thing $100. You know what I'm saying? You know, try to put that thing off. You know what I'm saying? You sure you don't want to wait a week? You know what I'm saying? No, we'll you know what I'm saying? We gonna get Brother T, you know what I'm saying? The what's it called? The noise cancellation thing. You can't have a face thing like I got. This is what the white pastors wear. You know what I'm saying? You make you feel like you got a little money, you do what the white pastors do. Them white pastors be having money, boy. They just be white people don't. It seems like white people don't even complain about being scammed. At least black people, we'll let them scam us for about 20 years. Then after that, we'll start complaining. These white folk, they be in there for generations in the church. You know what I'm saying? Just giving them generational income. Goodness gracious. I don't know. They might be able to get me. He give me, if Satan show me a white chair, you know how Satan took Yahushua? Look, Satan took Yahushua to the top of the thing and just showed him everything. It's like, oh, this can be yours. You know what I'm saying? They might be able to give me, he just give me a chain of white churches all across America. You can have white people giving you money and you don't have to do nothing but encourage them every Sunday. I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? Can I do that and teach black people the truth? You know what I'm saying? Like, can I do both? Most I got, you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. This is Romans what?
Chapter 5, verse 10.
I can't hear you. You said Romans what?
5,
Hey, y'all be quiet down there.
5, verse 10.
This is Romans chapter 5, verse 10. Watch what the book say.
For if when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his son, much more being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life. And not only so, but we also joy in God through our master Yahushua, by whom we have now received the atonement. Wherefore, as by one man's sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For unto the law of sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law.
Right? So if there's no law, the book says sin is not imputed. In other words, sin, like you're not held accountable for sin when the law didn't tell you what sin was. So for people that don't understand what sin is and they don't understand the law, or never seen the law, never been exposed to the book, all that, then sin is not imputed to them. However, you got to remember what he told us last week. I think it was in the 3rd chapter, right? He said, those who do what's right without the law become a law unto themselves. So by you consenting and understanding what's right and making that behavior, now you're still held accountable for your conscience of what you believe is right. Right? So that's the mindset that you got to have. Nobody has an excuse. Keep going.
Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who was the figure of him that was to come. But not as the offense, so also is the free gift. For if through the offense of one many be dead, much more the grace of God and the gift by grace, which is by one man, Yahushua the Messiah, hath abounded unto many. And not as it was by one that sinned, so is the gift. For the judgment was by one to condemnation, but the free gift is of many offenses unto justification. For if by one man's offense death reigned by one, much more they which receive abundance of grace and of the gift of righteousness shall reign in life by one, Yahushua the Messiah. Therefore, as by the offense of one judgment came upon all men to condemnation, even so by the righteousness of one the free gift came upon all men to justification of life. For as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one many shall be made righteous. Moreover, the law entered that the offense might abound, but where sin abound, grace did much more abound.
Right? So he said, look, the law entered so that it could define. So understand what he's saying. He's saying if there's no law, then nobody knows what a sin is. And if nobody knows what a sin is, then no one is held accountable for that sin. So he said the purpose of the law was to describe what sin is, so that now sin can abound. In other words, sin can be seen and it's all over the place. Because it's not like sin wasn't all over the place before the law. It was. It's just that nobody knew. So now the law comes so that sin could abound. But now as much as sin abounds, guess what abounds even more? Grace. Right? Because remember, grace is God's forbearance. So that's God basically saying, I should kill your butt, but I'm going to hold off. I'm going to give you a chance. So now the more sin that comes because there's more law, more instruction from God, right? Now you get to a point where there's more grace. There's more mercy from the Most High God. There's more patience with us from the Most High God. So now he says, The law came so that sin may abound, but grace abounds even more than the sin. Watch this.
That as sin hath reigned unto death, even so might grace reign through righteousness unto eternal life by Yahweh our Master.
It's
What
chapter
shall we
6.
say? Yeah. What
It's
shall
chapter
we say?
6. It's Romans chapter 6, verse 1. Watch what the book say.
Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid.
Right? So remember, Paul is always thinking about the argument. Right? So he's always like thinking about, okay, I said that now. Now don't go overboard. Because remember, everything that we talking about is like a tightrope. It's like a balance. It's like a tightrope. So anything that we say, people can take it and go to an extreme with it. And that's what happens with the Pharisees versus the Christianity. Like it's two separate extremes, right? The Pharisees is like, no, we have to do the law, right? We have to do the law so much so don't even pick a corn out of the field or on the Sabbath because you breaking the Sabbath. Are you breaking the Sabbath by eating something on the Sabbath? No, right? But they go to that extreme, like Yahushua accused them of straining gnats and letting a camel pass. They go through that extreme because of hypocrisy. They don't have balance. And then the Christians go to the opposite extreme. The Christians see the Pharisees and they say, see, they kept the law too much. That's their problem. Completely missing what Yahushua's criticism was of them. So he said, so now the Christians say, it don't matter what you do. God loves you no matter what you do. All you got to do is accept Jesus Christ in your heart, brother. Right? And they make a fool out of you. So now your behavior don't line up with the book, but you feel comfortable. At least for a time. You feel comfortable. So it's two different extremes. Paul knows those extremes exist. So first he talk about, okay, well, listen, the law can't save you. We're justified by faith. But he know as soon as he say that, the person going to be like, okay, well, that means we ain't got to do nothing. Praise God for his grace. And then he got to come back and be like, whoa. So do you think I'm saying that we sin so that grace may abound? He's asking the question. Do you think that's what I'm saying? Watch what he said. Keep going.
God forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein?
Right? He's telling you it don't even make sense. We were supposed to be given, like Psalm 4 said, a sacrifice of righteousness, which means we have killed ourselves for the sake of the Most High God. He said, so how if I'm dead to my natural self, right? To myself that causes me to sin, if I'm dead to that, well, how could I sin any longer? Keep going, watch this. Look, she said, look, the sister said the church had me thinking being baptized and believing, when in quotes she put it, believing would land me in heaven. What'd she say? I should sue for my offerings back. I know that's right. I know that's right. I'm open. That's a good suit. I don't know if anybody ever tried to do that.
They might work with how they
I'm
get
saying because legally, it was a misrepresentation. Legally, you can show in the book. That's a good darn suit. I might take that one up. I ain't see that. My problem is though, I ain't gave too many people my money. You know what I'm saying? I always been stingy and cheap. You know what I'm saying? I be looking at them. That might be what saved my life. Looking at these past, like, man, if I'm gonna give you some money, I gotta make sure you talking about the right thing. I'm gonna just hold off. You know, that thing saved me a little bit of money being skeptical. All right, keep going. Watch this.
Know ye not that so many of us, as were baptized into Yahushua the Messiah, were baptized into his death? Therefore, we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as the Messiah was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life.
That's right.
For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection.
Right. So understand the point that he's making. He started this off by saying, do you think I'm trying to tell you that we should sin so that we can create more grace? Because that's the point that he was making in the last chapter. He was saying, listen, where there is no law, sin is not imputed. However, the law came so that sin could grow. Right? And then people look at that like, God wanted sin to grow? He's like, no. wherever sin grows, grace grows even more. So now the people like, oh, now that sounds more like it. So God wanted sin to grow so that grace could grow. Well, good. Then maybe we should all sin so that we can make grace grow even more. So then Paul was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Do you think I'm saying that we should try to make grace grow by sinning? No, God forbid. How can we continue sinning when we are dead to sin? Don't you know that when we were baptized into Yahushua's death? And just as he raised as something new, then we spiritually raised as something new also, meaning that we have turned away from all our old doings. We turned away from sin, right? Keep going.
For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall also be in the likeness of his resurrection.
That's
Knowing
right.
that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. For he that is dead is freed from sin. Now,
That's right. So look, if you dead, you free from sin, right? That's how it works, right? If you die, you're now free from sin. That's what he's telling us. That concept is not foreign to us, right? If a husband has a wife and the husband dies, what happens to that wife?
She's free to marry another.
She's free to marry another, right? If a man has a debt, right, and he tries to work off that debt, but in the process, the servant or the master dies. Guess what? He's free from that debt. That's how our law works. So now you are only bound by the time that you are alive. Watch this. Keep going.
Now, if we be dead with the Messiah, we believe that we shall also live with him, knowing that the Messiah, being raised from the dead, dieth no more. Death has no more dominion over him. For in that he died unto sin once, but in that he lives unto God. Likewise, reckon ye also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto God through the Messiah, Yahushua our Lord. Do not let sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lusts thereof.
What do you mean by reign in your mortal body? He's saying don't let it pour down on you.
Don't let it control you.
He's saying reign as in a kingdom, right? He said don't let it be a king over you. Don't let sin rule over you. Oh, we got grab Genesis chapter 3. This is Genesis chapter 3. What I want, like verse 4, verse 5, maybe. What are you doing with that, baby girl? This Genesis chapter 3. I think I want verse 4.
And the serpent said,
chapter 4. I want chapter 4, verse 3, maybe verse 5.
He's talking to Cain.
Yeah.
9. You want verse 9?
I want 9.
Yeah.
This is
Nope.
This Genesis chapter 4, verse what?
No, hold on. You want 6.
It's Genesis chapter 4, verse 6. Watch what the book say.
And Yahuwah said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen?
Right? So Cain just got done killing his brother, and he upset. Or I'm sorry, no, he didn't kill him yet. Cain saw his brother get favor of his sacrifice, and he's upset. Right? So Yahushua call him out. He's like, whoa, why you so upset? What's wrong with you? Watch this.
If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if you do not well, sin lies at the door. And
he said, look, if you do the right thing, don't you know I will accept you? But if you don't do the right thing, then sin is right there. And what is his desire?
And unto thee shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him. And Cain talked with
We're
us.
at constant enmity with sin. Sin is trying to rule over us. That's the same thing as saying reign over us, right? Sin is trying to rule over us so that we have to rule over it. That's the relationship. That's how we have to do it. We have to constantly take control. But one of the things that gets in the way is emotion. I tell you all the time, emotion, those are spirits. Doesn't mean all of them is evil spirits. I'm just telling you that these emotions, the way that the emotions interact with us, the way the spirits interact with us, one of the ways is what we would call emotions. So we get emotional about something, and this lowers our defenses. It makes us vulnerable to an attack. And that's what happened right here with Cain. Cain got emotional, he got upset, he got angry. And when he saw that and got sad and got all these different things, he looked like, I want to be accepted by God too. So the Most High tried to warn him, look, if you stop focusing on how you feel and just do what's right, despite how you feel, right? I know you're upset that this person seemed like they got away with a whole bunch of messed up stuff. I get it. But guess what? Forget how you feel and just do what's right. And don't you know that you will be accepted? Too often, our mindset is focused on what we want to happen to the next person. We want to carry out some type of judgment. We want to make sure that they feel it. We want to make sure that they know. They know they wrong, and I'm going to let them know they wrong. It's not enough for them to just know they wrong. Listen, sometimes you got to believe whether they admit it to me or not. They know they wrong. And that got to be enough. But if you put it in your mind where you got to show them or you got to have something to do with it or they got to look you in the eye or they got to admit it or they got to all that, that's a setup. That's a setup for you killing your brother, for you wounding your sister. And don't you know that when that happens, the Most High God is going to mark your butt. You ain't even going to know it. At least Cain knew he was marked. Your butt ain't even going to know it. You're going to be walking around marked. Marked. You know what I'm saying?
Mark.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, walk around marked. Don't even realize it. Go back. Where we is at? Romans chapter what? Romans chapter 5, verse 6. This is Romans chapter 6, verse what?
12.
This is Romans chapter 6, verse what?
12.
Well, Romans chapter 6, verse 12. What does the book say?
Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. For
Right? See, when he say yield, he's talking about give. Well, you know, anybody who drive, one of the things they teach you is there's a couple types of signs that relate directly to you stopping and going. Right? So you got the stop sign, which obviously you got to come through a complete stop. When you don't got a stop sign, your butt got to go. You know what I'm saying? If you one of them bozos that get to stopping and you ain't got no stop sign, they can technically pull you over for that. Right? So if there's no stop sign, you got to just go. If there's a stop sign, you have to stop. But then there's a sign that's a little different. It's called the yield sign. It's a triangle. You know what I'm saying? And when you got the yield sign, what you got to do is you got to look and see who's there, see what cars are coming. And in that moment, you have to stop, right? Only if there's somebody else coming on the opposite street. In that moment, you have to treat it like a stop sign. If there's nothing there, then you can go. So that's what he's talking about here. He said, don't yield yourself as a servant to sin. In other words, you can't stop. You got to go. You got to keep it moving. But if you yield yourself, if you yield, you stop. and you give sin the right of way, well, there you go. He's saying don't yield. Ain't no stop sign there. Ain't no yield sign there. Just go. Keep going.
For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace.
Mm-hmm.
What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Know ye not that to whom you yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants you are, to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness? But God be thanked that you were the servants of sin, but ye have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered to you.
Right? So now he's telling you, if you sin, you become a servant of what?
Man.
That's it. Don't let nobody confuse you with this stuff. Like, it's very simple. Hey, I just sinned. I feel bad about it. I hate that I did it. I know it's wrong. I shouldn't have done it. I tried not to do it, but I did it anyway. Guess what? All that makes sense and all that may be true in your brain. At the end of the day, you sinned. So guess what? You're a servant to sin. If you are a servant to sin, that means you are in bondage to sin. If you are in bondage to sin, guess what you are not in bondage to? Let's see. Paul will tell us.
But ye have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered to you. Being then made free from sin, ye became the servants of righteousness. I speak after the manner of men because of the infirmity of your flesh. For as ye have yielded your members servants to uncleanness and to iniquity, unto iniquity, even so now yield your members servants to righteousness unto holiness. For when ye were servants of sin, ye were free from righteousness. What fruit
Right?
had
So
ye
now
then?
listen, if you are a servant of sin, that means you're what to righteousness?
Free from righteousness.
That means you ain't got no righteousness in you. I know what you thinking. You think, but most of the time I do be doing the right thing. I be thinking about it. I be doing the right thing most of the time, this, that, another. I just be sinning in this one little area. I know in your mind that's what you think. He's telling you when you sin, you are a servant to sin. And then he come back and tell you when you are a servant to sin, you are free from righteousness. So you may be thinking that you're doing righteousness and just a little bit of sin alongside of it. No, in reality, you're only a sinner and you have no righteousness. But watch what he say next.
What fruit had ye then in those things whereof ye are now ashamed? For the end of those things is death. But now being made free from sin and become servants to God, ye have your fruit unto holiness and the end everlasting life. For the wages of sin is death, but the
The
gift of
wages of
God,
sin is what?
death.
Ooh, what verse is that?
23.
He said the wages of sin is what?
Death.
Every person is owed what?
Death.
Death. You gotta look at it like a paycheck. When you do work, every time you clock in at work, guess what your job got to do? They got to rack up your hours because at the end of those 2 weeks or 1 week, whatever your payment cycle is, they got to pay you for that. You don't get it right away. You don't get it on day one. You don't get it on day two. Don't that first check you get a new job, that first check take the longest, don't it? That thing be taking like 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? It really be only like 2 or 3 weeks, but that thing be feeling like it's 6 weeks. That first little check, and then you be so anxious to get it, and then what happened?
Uncle Sam.
Well, all that happened. My wife said you already spent it in your brain, right? All that happened. One, you already spent it. But did you spend the check that you got, or did you spend the check that you thought you was gonna get? Because when you first start the job, don't you always think you about to get a full check, and all of a sudden you get, oh no, you came in the middle of a pay period. What? You know what I'm saying? I did what? Now I'm starting this thing out in debt, right? They have to rack it up and they got to say, okay, this is what we owe you based off of the work. Well, God is no different, right? He tells you in our law that if you sin and you don't continue in all the things in the law, then that means that you deserve a curse. He owes you a curse, and that curse is death, right? So then the wages of sin, in other words, the payment for sin is death. So anybody who has ever sinned, you have a payment, one payment that's waiting for you, and it's death. Everybody is owed death because everybody is sin. That's what God owes to us, right? Yahushua lived a life without sin. So when he died, guess what y'all had to do? Get him back up. He didn't sin. That's a grown man and he didn't sin. We ain't talking about no baby. We ain't talking about somebody that didn't have a chance. No. He had every chance to sin, got tempted, did everything, but guess what? He held tight. Get him back up. You still got him down there for 3 days? Get y'all butts down there and get his butt. Move that darn stone. He had to get him up because he didn't owe him death. He owed him life. But us, on the other hand, he owes every one of us death. That is the agreement. If you sin, you get death. That's why he says the wages of sin is death. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 26, real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 26, real quick. Sister Sharon said, she said, you get that middle of the payment cycle check. She said, man, you be up in there asking people, you know what I'm saying, how much was your first check? Especially people that start with you. Because you be having to make sure, like, they didn't cheat me now, did they? Sometimes these people be racist. You don't really know.
When I was a payroll, I had to prove every dollar to all of the new hires.
No, we don't play about that first check. That first check, always something wrong with it. That's how I feel, at least.
Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of this law to do them, and all the people shall say amen.
Right? That is the one that set forth the wages of sin. Right? The wages of our job is going to be something an hour. You know what I'm saying? They're going to tell you, okay, you're going to make so-and-so an hour, and we get paid every 2 weeks. You say, okay, I accept the position. Right? Those are the wages of your job. Some of y'all going to be salaried. They're going to say, look, we're going to pay you this much a year, and we get paid every week, every 2 weeks. Okay, cool. But now they're going to break that down. They say, this is your yearly stat. We're going to break that down into 26 2-week cycles. And every 2 weeks, we're going to pay you. And we're going to do that 26 times a year. And that is your salary. That's your salary. The wages of your job is whatever you agreed to. Yah is telling us the wages of sinful work, right? The wages of committing sin is death. That's what you're getting paid at the end of your cycle. At the end of your pay period. That's what you're going to get. Death. And there's no coming back from it. You just going to die, and that's it. There's nothing else for you because you sinned. But everybody sinned, except for one, which is Yahushua. So that when he died, y'all had to, I didn't owe him that. He resurrected him. Right? Because he owed Yahushua life. The same thing that was offered to us. Grab Leviticus for me. Leviticus chapter 18. Leviticus chapter 18. It's Leviticus chapter 18. Give me verse 1.
The priests, the Levites, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Israel. They shall eat the offerings of Yahuah made by fire and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahuah is their inheritance, as he has said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep, and they shall give unto the priest the shoulder and the 2 cheeks. And the
What chapter is this?
Oh, my bad. I'm in Deuteronomy.
This is Leviticus chapter 18, verse 1.
Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am Yahuah your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, where you dwell, ye shall not do. And after the doings of the
Look,
land of Canaan,
you know these silly Egypt, what they call them, Egyptologists, the Kemet people. They try to tell you, well, you do know Moses, he framed everything he got from Egypt. That's how you know these people don't pay attention to no darn book. First thing he say is, after the doings of Egypt, do not do. How Moses gonna frame it after somebody that the book it tell? I guess that's what it said in Egypt. That's probably what it said. In Egypt, it said, after the doings of Egypt, that's what Pharaoh was telling his people. After the doings of Egypt, do not do. These people don't even make good darn sense. They just make a darn mess. Just get out, moving too quick, hear something that tickle in your darn ear, and then you got to now repeat it like you know what you're talking about. I don't even go back and forth with these people no more. It's crazy. Keep going.
and after the doings of the land of Canaan, where I bring you, ye shall not do, neither shall you walk in their ordinances. You shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am Yahuah your God. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am Yahuah.
Right? So he said, if a man do the laws, he shall live in them. I am Yahuah. But then on the other hand, in Deuteronomy, he tell you, if a man doesn't continue in all the laws to do them, then he will be cursed. So that's when Yah says, I offer you life and death. If you do them, then you going to live. If you don't continue in all of them and to do them, then you're going to die. That's it. Well, Yahushua did them, and he did continue in all of them. Therefore, Yahushua, he had to get up. Y'all had to go down there and be like, nah, get him up. Move that darn stone, get him up. I owe him life. That's his payment. But the rest of us who have sinned, he owes us death, right? There's nothing else that come with that. So now when Yahushua has the ability to give his life for his friends, now what he can say is, you get up, I'm going to resurrect you. You get up, I'm going to resurrect you. But who is he going to resurrect? Everybody? Well, actually, yes, right? But who is he going to resurrect onto life? Everybody? No. He's only giving life to his friends. And who are his friends? Those who do whatever he commands them to do. So when you ask yourself, what should I do? You should do whatever Yahushua commands you to do. What does Yahushua command me to do? Well, let me tell you the first thing he commands you to do. Turn away from sin. Well, which sins? Let's read about them. This is Mark chapter 7. Sister Sharon is on
y'all keep on. I'm gonna start firing back.
He said he read by faith.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Grow up.
Oh man. Oh man. This is where I'll say I don't even remember. Where we at?
Mark 7.
Oh, Mark. This is Mark chapter 7. What I want, verse 21?
Yeah.
This is Mark chapter 7, verse 21. Watch the book say. Right? If the question is, what sin do I turn away from? Do I turn away from all of the sins, everything that's ever been called a sin, or what? I'm going to tell you exactly what Yahushua said. This is Mark chapter 7, verse 21.
For from within out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications,
murders,
thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness.
foolishness.
All these evil things come from within and defile the man.
Those are the sins that you need to turn away from. Those specific sins that he named that defile a man. Right? If you turn away from those sins, then you can enter into the kingdom. If you don't, then you will go to the lake of fire. Right? That's the opportunity that each one of us have. Now, if a pastor stood at the front of the church and said that, and then he said, if anybody would like to give their life over to the Lord, you know what I'm saying? Won't you come? I wouldn't have no problem with it. I'd be like, well, call them on up there then. You know what I'm saying? I remember my old church, they used to bring the seats out. It's like they knew. When the pastor start riling himself up, you'll see the deacons come around on the side. They get to rolling. Now let me put the seat up so y'all can see it. They get to rolling the seats out like this on the side. Okay, well, there you go. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Won't you come? Won't you go? They lay the seats out. And if it's one of them good Sundays where a whole bunch of the sinners come because it's like Easter or something, oh, they roll out so many darn seats. They get to telling people to stand up and all type. Ain't enough seats in the room. They end up and bring them to the front. It's like, man, he just got out of a seat to come to another seat. Why he got to sit in the front? But that's how they do it. Look, if they told your butt the truth, I wouldn't care where they made you sit. Sit in the front, sit on the side, sit whatever. But they told you the truth and you decided after that, okay, I want to come. But I'll tell you why they don't give you the specifics like that. And the reason they don't is not because they don't know it and not because they can't. But they know once they draw that clear line right down the middle, they know a lot of people are not willing to cross over that line. A lot of people want to stay on the side that they already own. And when people want to stay on their side, that's less moolah. That's less manyan. You know what I'm talking about? That thing ain't coming no more. So then you got to make it vague for them. Just be like, well, your own personal relationship. You know what I'm saying? You define it however you want. Whatever it means to you to have a relationship with God, that is what's required. Right? Our mindset can't be that. Our mindset got to be on specifics, got to be on detail. You don't think God is detailed? We just got done reading the Exodus, all of the specific specifications for the altar and for the table of showbread, right? And for the candlestick and for the ark, right? And for the tent and for the whole tabernacle and the gate around the tabernacle. It's specific details enough that we could try to remake it today, right? That's how detailed it is. You don't think the Most High God is about detail? This whole book we got full of detail, you don't think he's about detail? We just think we can just lollygag our way through life. Nah, man, that's not what we're here to do. That's not what we're here to do. We're gonna pick up next week in Romans chapter 7. Try to see what else Paul's gonna tell us. We're gonna probably spend a couple more weeks in Romans, you know what I'm saying, and get to it. Any questions? And while we wait for questions, this weekend on Sunday, the first day of the week, is gonna be the Feast of Weeks. But we will be eating at the house. I don't know what we eating. It's been a rough week or two. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what we eating, but I'm gonna make sure we eat something. I don't know. I don't want to cook though. I might try to get somebody to cater something. I don't know. Or do like a honey baked lamb. You know what I'm saying? Do something where I ain't got to put it in the grill. I can just ask Tasha, hey Tasha, you mind just setting a little timer? You know what I'm saying? I already did it. I just put it in there. All you gotta do is set a little timer, pull it out. You know what I mean? But we gonna eat good. We gonna figure out. What you say? Hold the lamb. Yeah, I'm not about to talk. Yeah, I still got your gift. I was supposed to bring it to you too. I know I'm wrong. I definitely was supposed to bring it to you. And I'm gonna bring it to you. I'm a man of my word. I might be late. I'm always on time. You know what I'm saying? Ain't God look at God? Ain't God good? Darren, don't make no requests if you're not coming. Yeah, I know. That's the truth. He ain't gonna show up. No questions? Let's go ahead and pray out then.